Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. It is ranking time today. I will give you my top 5 manager list to become Roma managers next season. I would like to point out that this is not a news outlet today. This is just my preference, who I want based on the rumors that we've heard sitting on the bench next season. A decision which we cannot get wrong. A decision which the Fredkins can't get wrong, seeing how many bad mistakes they've made this season. And I think the fact that they've appointed Claudio Ranieri to help them with this decision is something very important, because you need somebody who understands who needs to be and who needs to sit on that bench next season. It's not an easy decision to make, which is why these videos are entertaining. Also because everyone here will have different opinions. I want everybody to let me know in the live chat, if you're watching this live, who you want as your top pick. And also in the comments in the video down below, if you aren't watching this live, let me know, because it's going to generate a very good discussion, because all of us will have some very different opinions. All of us will have different projects in mind. All of us will want different things, and that's the beauty of sports. That's the beauty of chats and debates. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. So let me know who you want. Oh, as always, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're coming towards a very important week, a massively important week. Come on Sunday, and the game next Thursday is like, we've got a game in between, but that game against Athletic Bilbao, oh my God, I am so ready for it. Oh my God, I'm so ready for it. Oh yeah, quick reminder before we get started. This is not a sponsorship, but if you are going to the stadium next Thursday for the home game against Athletic Bilbao, get a red and yellow flag. It could be any dimensions. And I can give you a website to get it from, braviragazzishop.com. The Curva Sud has basically sent a message that they are going to prepare a massive atmosphere and choreography, and they need everyone to bring a red and yellow flag. It can be a little flag, it can be a big flag, any flag, but it needs to be the specific Roma colors, not any flag. So yeah, it's not a sponsorship. I'm not getting paid to say that. I just want Thursday needs to be hell for Athletic Bilbao, so everybody needs to bring their own voice, flag, scarf, anything. Right, hit the like, subscribe, and let's do this. Number 5. It's top 5. I'm gonna start with the 5th, and then we're gonna make our way to number 1. My 5th is 2 managers combined together. I couldn't, because otherwise I had to do a top 6. So instead of doing a top 6, I'm doing a top 5. But my 5th position basically consists of 2 different managers. And my 5th position consists of managers in which you need time to build from. And these are 2 managers that we've been heavily linked with in these last couple of days. One of them is the guy we talked about yesterday, Gasperini. And the other one is Fabregas from Como. The reason I've put them in 5th position and not higher is because they're not bad names. Again, I discussed about Gasperini specifically, so you know what I think about him. But Gasperini and Fabregas all have a very big thing in common, which is you need to give them time. You need to give them time. You cannot even think about treating them like you treated De Rossi. You need to be patient, and you need to ultimately aim at building a long-term sustainable project, which consists of profits, not spending a lot on price tags of players, having a good scouting department, building, growing, year by year, you grow, year by year, you improve. And the reason I've put them 5th is because that type of project at Roma, you know me, I've said it many times, doesn't work. And the other reason I've put Gasperini 5th is because, the fans don't like him, and I do think he has pros and cons. And Fabregas, the reason why I think I've put him 5th, number 1, is because I'll be honest with you, I don't see Fabregas leave Como this early, because I think what Como are doing is an Atalanta 2.0. I think if there's a new Atalanta emerging in Italian football, it's Como. Because they've got the money, because they've got a manager who knows how he wants to set his tactics. And he's a good manager, I'll give you that. Fabregas is a good manager. He has his ideas. Como have got money. They're not going to get relegated this season, so they can add to that. They've got one of the richest ownerships in Italy, if not in the world. That can only improve. So I think if I were Como, I would not let Fabregas go this early because you're building something. They were in the Serie C 3 years ago. They got promoted to the Serie B. From the Serie B, they got promoted to Serie A in 2 years. They're not going to get relegated. You see what I mean? They're building. They're improving. Como can aim for Europe with a good transfer market next season. Yes, they can. Maybe Conference League, but if they do it correctly, they can. So I don't think he's going to leave. And the thing which has these two managers in common is that it's the pressure jump. Or we willing? I'm skeptical. The reason I'm skeptical about a long-term project as of now, at time of speaking, is because number one, I know our fan base too well. And number two, I get the impression that the board really, and I'm saying this with all my heart, the board this summer, when they make the decision of when they appoint the new manager, they can't make mistakes. They genuinely cannot make a mistake. So I don't think they are willing to take a risk of appointing a potential Fabregas and then it doesn't work out. The new Roma manager needs to be somebody proven. The new Roma manager needs to be somebody who has won something, because you cannot make any more mistakes. You've thrown a season in the toilet. We're trying to recuperate it, but you've thrown it in the toilet. And you can't be throwing another season in the toilet. So the reason I'm skeptical with these managers is that they aren't certainties. Is that they aren't managers that are going to get something out of this football club. They need time. They've got question marks. But they are good managers, and that's why I've put them fifth. Moving on, fourth position. I have... Ironically, I should say, maybe not ironically, maybe it's not the good word. Fourth position, ironically, I've gone with Claudio Ranieri, part 4. This won't happen, but as I said before, it's my preference. This is not based on who's most likely to join, this is based on who I want. And the logistics behind this is, I would much rather keep Ranieri one more season than risk. We're not in a position to risk. It's the common theme of this video, and it's the common theme of the coming summer. From what we're coming, we cannot take risks. We can't take risks. So if the top tier managers all say no, I would keep Ranieri one more season, and after that, go for something else. Because, and people here, I've mentioned this already, but people here will go, no, we can't be making this same mistake of confirming a manager based on the last enthusiasm, euphoria moment, like we did with De Rossi. And I disagree. I disagree because the difference between euphoria, enthusiasm, give De Rossi an extension, and euphoria, enthusiasm, give Ranieri an extension is very, very different. It might feel very similar, but it's very different. Because one of the managers was extend him, but he's got no experience. And the other guy is extend him. He's one of the best managers that the football history has seen. He's one of the best managers who has played in the game. So it's not the same dynamic. I can understand why people will go, no, we can't be making this mistake again. But at the same time, I disagree because it's not similar. Because if you confirm Ranieri, you're confirming an experienced manager for one more season. You're not gambling your way, giving a 3-year contract extension to a manager who's got so much to prove. Okay, so the two situations can't be comparable. This won't happen. This is out of all of them in the list. This is the one that is probably least gonna happen. And I would say just like I would say fairly, Ranieri needs a break. Like Ranieri basically said, and again, I feel like confirming Ranieri one more season, you're using him. You're using him because you agreed with him that this was only going to be an emergency comeback, help the team, avoid a hypothetical relegation, aim to do something miraculous in this season, and then part ways, and Ranieri helps us build the project, but not as a manager. So yeah, if all of a sudden you go, Claudio, please stay one more season, you're using him, and it's not fair. It's not fair because Ranieri has said that he doesn't want to be a Roma manager next season. Now again, as anything in life and as anybody in life, you can try and convince him. You can try and go, Claudio, please, let's come to an agreement. I need you one more season to sit on that bench. But again, I don't think it's fair because number one, he deserves a break. Like let the man rest. And number two, Ranieri doesn't want to stay as manager. He said this very clear in front of everyone, in front of the microphones and the television. I don't want to stay. Please don't start speaking about Ranieri staying, Ranieri part 4, Ranieri, he's doing very well, Ranieri has to stay. Because he doesn't want to stay. Because he wants to retire. And he had initially decided to retire last season, but for the love and affection and passion that he has for us, he decided to come out of retirement for us. So I wouldn't complain if Ranieri stays one more season because Ranieri gives me calmness. Ranieri transmits to me a sense of tranquility that no other manager does. And you can tell that the players have a good bond with Ranieri because you can't hate the man. But at the same time, on a human level, I don't think it's fair because he doesn't want to stay. And the only reason Ranieri stays next season is because he is being forced, not forced, but he's been bribed to stay. He's been persuaded to stay. He wants a break. Let the man retire. He needs to help us build interior-wise, board-wise. We need him in the club, but it's very understandable if he doesn't want to be a manager no more. He's a certain age and he should... a manager is not an easy job. You gotta wake up every day at 6 a.m. So, heart says yes, head says no on Ranieri staying one more season. But of course, I'd prefer him to many other managers. If I have to get Montella, then you see what I mean? I'd rather get Ranieri staying, of course. So that's why I put him fourth. That's why I've put him ahead of a few other names. And then the top 3 is all composed of experienced managers, managers who won a lot, winning mentality managers. Third in the list, Massimiliano Allegri. This is very controversial. I will get hated on this because Allegri has got that stereotype of anti-football, anti-tactics and everything. And I personally think, if I've said this already, but if I were a Juventus fan, I know that the Juventus mentality is you win or you go. I would stick with Thiago Motta. But speaking about Allegri, I would go, you see, everybody who wanted Allegri out, everybody who attacked Allegri, everybody who was anti-Allegri got what they wanted. And then look at where Juventus are right now. So I think this modern feeling of burying managers who've got ancient tactics, I do it sometimes because it is frustrating to watch a game, but I've come to the conclusion also after a process of maturing that it's all fake narratives. A manager needs to win. As long as he wins, I don't ask anything else. So I don't like this anti-football narrative that these managers get. So I think Allegri would be a great manager. I think Allegri would be a very good manager because he knows how to win. And he knows the Italian football. And he knows how to manage high-pressure clubs. So Number 3 is Massimiliano Allegri. In fact, I'd put him higher, but if I have to restrict it to my top 3, I'd put Allegri third. And second, I would put Ancelotti. Part of me believes that Allegri would be better than Ancelotti. And I have to be honest with you here. Part of me here thinks that Allegri would work better than Ancelotti. Because I've seen Allegri adapt to less quality players, lower quality players, and still win. I'm looking at Juventus last season. Juventus last season were a joke. I remember Juventus last season very well. They were a joke. And he managed to win them the Coppa Italia. So I think the biggest comparison which I see from Allegri and Ancelotti is that I see Allegri as he can adapt to the players that we have. I am not sure if Ancelotti would be able to adapt with the players that we have, some of the players that we have. But for the sake of this video, I've put Ancelotti second because let's face it, having Ancelotti as manager itself would be great. It would get the fan base go mental. He has always said that in order to conclude his managerial career, he needs that last step. He's been a Roma legend before. So, yeah, look, but again, of course I can't say no to him, which is why I've put him second, because he's proven, he's experienced. He knows how to play European ties. But Ancelotti would not be my number 1 pick. He wouldn't be my number 1 pick because, as Joe is saying, Ancelotti needs a budget. I mean, it's not like Ancelotti needs a budget. It's that Ancelotti only managed to win something in teams where he had a high budget. And you know, I'm not trying to denigrate Ancelotti here, but it doesn't take a great manager to get that Real Madrid team playing good football and win the Spanish league and win a few trophies. If you see what I mean, okay? So, because a manager in a team like Real Madrid doesn't even need to display tactics because he's got so much quality on that pitch that the players basically play themselves. They know what to do themselves because they've got the best players in the world. So, but of course I've put him second because I can't say no to him, even though if he's not our favorite pick and best pick, you simply can't say no to the best manager in the history of this game. You can't. He's won everything. Yes, he's won the majority of these trophies with Real Madrid, with Bayern Munich, and the few experiences that he had at Napoli and Everton weren't great. But he's a manager which will get the fans going, will attract big players, will stop big players from leaving our club, and it would kind of, you know, it's something like I would love to see it. My eyes would love to see Ancelotti sat on that bench and there on the touchline during the Roma anthem, doing Roma, 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 Ancelotti going there like that. You see, it's one of those Hollywood movies that I would love to see. And moving on to my number 1 pick is, again, this is the most controversial one probably because I remember when he was our manager how divided the fan base was, especially in his last periods. My number 1 pick is Jose Mourinho. That man has left something in me and in the hearts of the majority of the Roma fan base that it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go because we've loved each other so much, and that was the winning recipe between us and him. It's the affection and the fact that he got sacked like that out of nowhere and never kind of had the chance to say thank you to the fans and in return the fans thank you to him is something that I haven't tolerated. Now, look, it's going to divide 100%. And as I said before, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I am entitled to my own opinion. And Jose Mourinho for me is, first of all, he would come back into something that he loves. And nobody will change this narrative for me. Nobody will change this narrative. I agree with you. Look, he hasn't left the club in best of ways. He hasn't left the club in best of ways. He hasn't left his relationship with the players in best of ways, especially some players. But most importantly, the board, the Fredkins, they haven't left each other on good terms. So to hypothesize and imagine him coming back is hard. I can't lie. But I will not be moved 1 second. 1 fucking second. Will anybody change my opinion that if Claudio Ranieri picks up his phone, calls Jose Mourinho and goes, "Dear Jose, we've got unfinished business. I had a good chat with Dan and Ryan, and in football you make mistakes. I know that you're a very tough man. I know that you're not easy to say pardon because you've got a very tough personality, and that's what makes you very successful. But I am here now. Me and you are good friends. My name is Claudio Ranieri. You have named me the best manager of the Premier League in Obi Miko's podcast a few weeks ago. Why don't we work together? Why don't we work together? Why don't you come back home and let's win that Europa League trophy that you..." Nobody would change my opinion that Mourinho will say no. Mourinho would go, "I'm on my way." It's not even a question. It's not even a question. Which is why when people go, what do you think of Mourinho coming back for a potential Roma Fenerbahce in the quarterfinals? It would be good because trust me, he's going to cry. And so, again, I think there's probably a 3% chance this happens. But as I said before, this is my own take. I think, again, apart from the emotion side, you would get a manager who has worked with these players before. He would need to get his relationship back going, of course. And there will inevitably be a clear out this summer. So that wouldn't even be a problem because I think Pellegrini and Cristante will both leave. And they were the two players that the media kind of hinted at tackling with Jose. You would call a manager back who wants to stay here, who never wanted to leave. You would call a manager back who has never digested that Europa League final. He will never digest it and has never digested it. You would call a manager back from a league that, he's doing well in, but does he really want to be in it? I don't follow the Turkish league, but I keep on seeing posts on Instagrams and articles on the web saying that Mourinho has been called racist by the Turkish and Mourinho complaining about the referees, calling the Turkish system corrupt and dark and unhidden. Is that fun? This is a personal question. Is it entertaining? Number one, to manage in a 2-team league, because let's face it, it's Galatasaray against Fenerbahce. Number two, how exciting it is to manage in a shit league, because it's a shit league, number one, and in a league which is corrupt, is dark, which is called you racist, which has a system of referees which is clearly linked to the politics in that country. This is a question that I would ask Jose. Are you happy there? And I'm not that convinced he would say yes. Of course, he's doing well in the Europa League as well. So I'm not saying he would. Of course, he has respect for Fenerbahce and so he should. But you can't tell me he's having fun in Turkey. Come on. Who has fun in Turkey? So, as much as everybody wants to throw the narrative that Mourinho and Roma have divorced in a dark way and that they've divorced and they're not speaking to each other anymore, I have to be very honest with you. If Claudio Ranieri picks up his phone and calls Mourinho and wants him to come back, there is no world where Mourinho says no. There is no world that Mourinho says, "No, I'm sorry, I don't want to come back." Because And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Roma fan, but I'm saying this as a football fan. I've never seen Mourinho more attached to a football club than us. So it's a love story. I mean, sometimes love stories do incredible turns around and then come back together. So I have no idea. Again, the chances of this happening are very, very slim because of the board, because of the Fredkins, and because, yes, Ranieri will have a say in the manager, but at the end of the day, it's not Ranieri who chooses. It's Dan Fredkin who needs to put the money. So Ranieri can advise, Ranieri can call, Ranieri can give advice to the Fredkins, Ranieri can go, look, Dan, I have a list of these 3 managers. I think he's good for that reason, he's good for this reason, and he's good for X reason. What do you think? But at the end of the day, the result, the response, and the overall decision needs to come from Dan Fredkin and Ryan Fredkin. And I'm not that convinced that Dan Fredkin and Ryan Fredkin would kind of call Mourinho back, who, for numerous reasons, they decided to divorce. People say that Rossi return. I mean, look, I think for me it's a no. For me it's a no because the chance for De Rossi to return was before you appointed Juric. That was the chance, and that was the perfect moment to do it. Okay, absolutely perfect moment to do it. He was under contract. All you had to do was say, I'm sorry, De Rossi, Lina Suluku made the mistake, she's gone now, let's come back together and let's forget about everything that happened in the last week. It was that easy. They decided not to do so. So if I need to end the season and then re-go with De Rossi, I wouldn't do it because he's not ready, he needs to grab experience. So when I was saying De Rossi returning, I was saying it because it was the smartest thing to do. Instead of appointing that idiot of Juric, the smartest thing to do back then was, I'm sorry, Daniele, come back. It was her fault. It was that pig's fault. They decided not to come back and therefore accomplish their mistakes, kind of give in their mistakes. So I don't think it would make sense. I wouldn't oppose it. I love the man. He needs time. But again, you're kind of then going back to where I think De Rossi returning, yes, but not now. Not like this. De Rossi needs to grab experience. Once he grabs that experience, he will come back. And I can guarantee you that. Within the next 5 to 10 years, he will come back. 100%. He needs to grab experience. So I don't think it would make sense. But, I mean, I'd rather De Rossi than Montella, again, if you ask me in that way. What do you think of Spalletti? Nah, Spalletti won't come. Spalletti wants to play the World Cup with Italy. Would you take Farioli? I'd put Farioli on the same level as Fabregas. That emerging long-term manager, but are we willing to take that risk right now after what we've gone through? I don't know. I agree 100%. Simo Mu is the best choice. That man mended her broken horse from Totti and De Rossi retiring. I hope he comes back. I would pick him over any other manager. I Fredkin hanno bisogno di recuperare, qualora l'avessero mai avuto, il consenso del popolo romanista, quindi la scelta andrà su qualcuno che possa ricevere l'approvazione di tutti. Mourinho would love the new additions. That's a no for Joe for me. Worst soccer I've seen Roma play since 1981. But the worst soccer that you've seen play in 1981 made you lift a trophy and play a Europa League final. And I think those emotions alone, what we lived together, is better than style of football. Like, to end this stream, answering this question is, so you would rather play well, but not win anything, than play less well, less entertaining, but win trophies? I wouldn't. Absolutely not. I don't give a shit how we play, as long as we lift something, because otherwise we're never gonna get out of this cycle. Mourinho is the only manager in recent times that tried to give a winning mentality to this football club, and yeah, that's what I would end it on. Right, I'm gonna catch you tomorrow. Match preview for Como tomorrow. Very interesting game tomorrow. Absolutely interesting. Not tomorrow, on Sunday, but match preview tomorrow against Como, who are one of the best teams in Italy right now. Good side, know how to play. They're loving football right now. They're loving life. So let's see what happens. Match preview tomorrow. We'll speak about the game. Hit the like, subscribe, 100 likes. Let me know in the comments who your number one pick is. And I'll talk to you soon. Let me read a few more comments because a few people have asked something. What do you think of Eric Ten Hag? No. Any advice on seats for the Olimpico? I'll be there on the 16th of March traveling from Maui. Thank you, young maestro. Well, it depends on the experience you want. If you want Curva Sud, you won't get tickets because everybody has a season ticket. If you want good views, good atmosphere, and not that expensive, I would go for... Distinti Sud, Distinti Nord. If you want a good view and a good visual of everything, then I would go for Tribuna Tevere, not too low. And if you want the ultimate VIP experience, but then of course, then Tribuna Montemario, VIP lounge and all of that. What happened to Florenzi and his story with Roma was a good write-up for us. Well, he's got that problem of being the captain after Totti and De Rossi, which I think haunted him a lot. But yeah. Right, I'll catch you tomorrow. Hit the like and subscribe. Bye-bye. Simo out.